Hi, I'm Cheryl. I'm going to do a video on how to make this card, and this is kind of a Stampin' Up meets Heartfelt Creations combo, and it's not a beginner's card. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Actually, it's quite a bit more complicated than that, and I've got to do it in two parts. So in this part, I'm going to show you how to make the flowers. Okay, so that's our project for today. We're going to make hibiscus and other little tropical looking flowers. So you can see this, the hibiscus has that little pointy uppy, pokey uppy thing in the middle. I don't know what it's called, a stamen or a pistil, or I don't know. It's been quite a while since I've had a biology class. So but it's got this little thing that sticks out in the center, and we'll be doing a flower that has that. So these are the Heartfelt Creation stamp sets we're using. I have the small classic petunias, and then also the large classic petunias. I just got the stamps. They have dies that will cut these out, and what's nice is that the die will cut everything on the stamp at one time. So that's kind of nice, but I didn't get them. Why didn't I get them? Because I have little fussy cutting scissors, and I feel that I can cut these flowers out. I just sit and I watch a TV show and fussy cut flowers, and I save myself $50 to $60 on the dies. The only reason I would buy one is there is a die that cuts this beautiful little border thing out, and that's not something I would fussy cut. But, well, if sometime I feel that I'm going to need that fussy cut out, then maybe I'll invest in the dies. But on their website, the die sets are $30 a piece. Well, $29.95, I believe it is. Just under $30 a piece. I found another website, and they're $22.57, I believe. And they do have these two stamp sets that I'm using today, as well as the designer, the Heartfelt Creations designer paper that I've used on the card. And if you bought the two stamp sets and the paper, it would get you free shipping. They give you free shipping at $45. So anyway, let's get moving on. Now that I've gone through my how to save some money spiel. Okay, so I have the small ones here on a block. I have the big one on a block. I'm not going to do the leaves because I did not use them in my card. If you feel like you'd like to have leaves in your card, by all means color those in and use them in your card. I can't see it from my house. I have my Stampin' spritzer. I'll need some water in a little bit. I have my little heat gun heating up on the side here. I have micro pore medical tape. I'm using that to show you one way of doing the stamens for the center of the hibiscus, and there's also another way that we use the Tacky Glue. This is the white glue. This is AC Moore brand, but Aleene's makes the same thing, and there's a couple other brands. It's the thick white glue, and of course we need some stamens, and yes, these are white. I'm going to show you how to color those. I'm trying to keep my supplies to a minimum, and I got white ones and black ones. I got the just white ones because I can color these. I can make these any color I want, and I'll show you how I did that. For the center of the smaller flowers, I use like these little micro beads. They sell micro beads. Heartfelt Creations sell something called prills. Of course, I have to do something different, and I got these, and they're actually for doing nail art, and I'll put the link below. I found these on Amazon, and I've got all these little vials of all different colors. And I've used the yellow a couple times now, and you can hardly see that I've used any of them. So I feel that I'll probably never have to buy these again. I've got my small ball stylus. This end is let's see, I think it's 2 or 3 millimeter. I'll look here. No, it's a 4 millimeter on one side and a 6 millimeter on the other. I've got my Cuttlebug glue. Like I said, I got my heat gun going. I have a white gel pen, that's kind of an optional thing, but probably you'll want to do it. I have my Pokey tool. I'm using the Stampin' Up! Crushed Curry and the powder pink, or pink Pirouette. Inks, and of course you'll need some white, Whisper White cardstock. So the first thing we're going to do, oh, and I have my little fussy cutting scissors, because I didn't get the dies. I have to fussy cut. So the first thing we'll do is stamp our flowers onto our Whisper White. Let me get the pink out here. And I'm just gonna ink the flower, and I'll stamp that. And you could probably barely see that. Here, let me bring that up to the camera. You see, there it is. And then I'm just going to ink up these 2 flowers, and I'll stamp them on my paper too. Okay. And then we're gonna, oh, I also have the Nuvo Embellishment Mousse, and I really like this for flowers. The reason being, I was thinking about getting the oh, what are these called? I was thinking about getting a set of gelatos, and one place I ordered from was nice enough. They sent me as a gift. They sent me a couple of them, and I tried them, and they're all right. And but I like the mousse better. The reason is that these, when you use these, they don't dry. So if you wet them again, the color moves or gets blotchy or whatever, depending on what kind of wetting you've done on them. Whereas these, the Nuvo Embellishment Mousse, when it dries, it will not reactivate again. And I do like that, especially for making the flowers, and it gives such a nice pearlized sheen to them that I'm very, very happy with it. So I'm going to start out, this one is Peony Pink, and I'm just going to use my finger, and this is like whipped buttery metallic acrylic paints, I guess you could liken it to. You can do this blending type of stuff with it, like I'm going to be doing on these flowers. And I'm just covering the entire flower right now with the peony pink. Let's see, you can put it in a spray bottle and spray it. They say you can use it like watercolors, but it's really not. It's not like watercolors at all. It's not translucent, but then neither are gelatos. It's not or translucent, transparent like a watercolor, or even using your inks to do a watercolor effect. So I don't like it as a watercolor at all. Let's see what else. You can use it as an embossing paste. I've done that. That worked really well. It took a little while to dry. This dries very fast. Doing it a thin coat of it like this. Okay, so let me show you. See how I've got those flowers done. You see that beautiful pearlized sheen they have to them. I really like that. And this one is, let's see, Pink Flambe. And I'm going to use a little bit of this just in the centers. So I have a bit of a color shading there. Let's see, what else can you do with this stuff? Oh, you can stamp with it. I tried stamping with it. You can dab it on your stamp. I used my finger, just like I'm using it now, and put it on a stamp. You do want to clean it off, just like if you were using acrylic paints. You want to clean it off immediately. On the bigger one, I'm going to pull some of the color like straight out the petals. Okay. Oh, maybe a little more on this one. So I do prefer this over the over gelatos. I watched a lot of videos before I decided on what I was going to buy. Okay, so now I'm going to use my white gel pen, and down the center of these flowers, I don't know if you'll be able to see it now. Okay, down the center of the flower, there, you can very faintly see this one. Maybe it'd be better on a stamp. Let me bring the stamp set in here. There's a vein. There you go. There's a vein in the center of the flower, and I put white gel pen on that. That's optional. You don't have to do that. If you don't have a white gel pen, don't panic, don't freak out. Just skip this step. But I like that little white line down the center, and just go from the center out to the edge of the flower. I just think it just gave it a little something extra. Okay, and then the gel pen does have to dry for a moment. So I'm going to check my hot glue gun, see how that's doing. It's getting hot. Okay, I'll be using that later. Now at this point, I colored them in first because it's so much easier to do it before you cut them out. Then you don't have all these wobbly little petals to deal with. And now comes fussy cutting time. And no, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do 3 flowers. I'm actually only going to do the large flower that has that special stamen in it. And I'm almost done fussy cutting one out here. The small flowers, just in that center, you'll use some type of glue. Not Tombow. You don't want a sticky glue. Tombow will dry sticky. You can use like a glossy glue, like the fine tip. Let's see, here it is. I have all my stuff mostly like the fine tip glue pen from Stampin' Up. You use just white glue. Since you have the tacky glue out already, you could use that because it doesn't dry tacky. It sets up a little faster. So I just put a little bit of that glue in the center and just coated it with these little pearls where did I put them? These little tiny micro beads. So this must be quite an interesting manicure with these little beads on it. I don't know. But that's not what I bought it for. I don't even wear nail polish. So I'm sure not going to do little micro beads. Oh, and I forgot to tell you I have this little mat. This is an embossing mat for the Cuttlebug. And it's kind of like a mouse pad. So if you don't have this mat, you have a mouse pad. Anything that's kind of firm but mushy, if you understand what I'm saying. You have to be able to press down into it. Okay, so I have my flower all cut out. I'm going to turn it face down. Okay, and with my mister, I'm going to just put some off to the side here, and I'll just I'm just going to wet these petals. I'm just going to dampen them. I don't want them soppy wet. I just want them damp. Now, if you are not using the mousse, if you decide that you were going to do your flowers and use some markers or some of your inks or something like that, keep in mind that if it's something that does reactivate with water, but when we wet this, it's going to move your colors on the front side of the flower. So I'm going to take the larger ball, and we decided that was 6 millimeter. I'm just going to go all around the edge of the petals here to start out, just to start breaking down those fibers a bit. And just go all the way around. You'll do this on both the big ones and the small ones. The small ones are done exactly the same way. And then I'm taking the small end, I'm just pressing down pretty hard. And this is going to give it a nice kind of ruffly effect when our flower is finished. Okay, there we go. That's all done. And you see that? See how pretty that is? Okay, so now we have to make it so it scoops up like this. So I'm going to take my small end here. I'm going to start out here. I'm going to pull to the center. Out here and pull to the center. Right along that white line we made. Or maybe you didn't make it. But just down the center of each of the petals, you're going to pull that down. And then right in the center, I'm going to give it a good push. So it cups up. And maybe tweak the ends of the petals a little bit so they curl outward. Like that. And then now we're going to take this, we're going to set it aside. This has to dry. Okay? And this, like I said, this is not a slap the card together, run out the door kind of card. This is a start it in the morning and finish it at night, or start it one night, finish it the next night kind of card. Okay, and then when it dries, it'll be like this. And you hear that? See, it's become stiff, and it will hold its shape much better than if you do not wet it. So when you wet it down, it's going to like reshapes those fibers, and it holds it in place much better. All right, now these are the stamens that I made. This one I made with using the Tacky Glue, and this one I made using the micro pore tape, which I got on Amazon. I bought that at one time to because I thought I'd make my own washi tapes, and turned out I wasn't that thrilled with it, doing it that way. Okay, so I've got my crushed curry, and I'm going to get some stamens out here. I'm going to want, let's see, about 5 of them for each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I do another 5 of them over here. Okay, I'll be neat, and I'll put my little tie thing on here. Hold all my stamens together. And let's see, where'd the micro pore? We'll do the micro pore tape one first. Okay, get the end. I'm going to cut myself a piece of micro pore tape. And lay that down on my table. Try to get it off my finger. It's just not coming off. There we... Okay. Well, that's good enough. I'll just lay my scissors there. I want to get all my little ends lined up as best I can. I want them pretty close to even. If they're a little bit off, that's fine. And I'm going to take them and lay them on the edge of the micropore tape. And then just roll them up in the tape. Just like this. This is kind of a special item that a lot of people probably won't have around, and they won't want to use to have around. So that's why I'm showing you two different ways of doing this. Okay, so I have my little one with micropore tape wrapped, and here are my other 5. They're loose. And I'm going to put some ink down. This is the crushed curry. I put that out on my table. This is where it gets messy. You're going to have yellow fingers. I'm going to wet that with some spritzes from my Stampin' spritzer. And we're going to put these stamens and just roll them in that crushed curry. Okay, and also the one with the micropore tape. Get them colored. So now my white stamens are yellow. You can make them any color you want. I didn't think the black, using black ink would work too well, so I did buy black ones. Oh, let's see, I need something to wipe that up now. And I'm gonna blot these off so they dry a little faster. As you can see, I already have ones that are dry, so that's not gonna slow us down. And then for the ones with that we're gonna use the tacky glue, again, you want to get all your little ends together, lined up as best you can. Okay, I'm going to put some tacky glue on here. And I'm just going to, with my fingers again, I'm just going to roll them and get them stuck together just like that. You see that? You see? So they're stuck together now, and they have to set aside. They have to be set aside to dry, which is okay because we have to wait for our flour to dry anyway, right? Okay. So now we have the components of the flowers done. Let's see, and this is my dry one. And if you don't have a piercing mat, I don't have a piercing mat. I have a little box though, and I have my Pokey tool. If you have a piercing mat, you could do this on a piercing mat. And with my Pokey tool right in the center of that flower, I'm going to put that down in there and make a hole. Because that's our stamen is going to actually poke right through that hole. You see? Now these are actually 2. And where's my other scissors? I'm not using my fussy cutting scissors to cut these. So I'm going to cut these right in half. I'm going to use the one using the tacky glue, because actually I like the way those look better. But you would do the same thing with the tape. The difference being with the tape, I would trim the end of it to a point so it goes through that hole. Okay. But I'm going to use the one with the glue because it's a little bit smaller bundle here. I'm going to stick that through the hole and have it as long as I want, which is, I don't know, maybe about 3/4 of an inch. And I have it sticking out the back now here. See that? I'm going to take my hot glue gun And you could use a tacky glue too, but this is, you just have to wait for a little longer for the glue to set up. And I'm going to glue all around those stamens, attaching it to the back of the flower. Ooh, that's a nice big glop. Let me spread that around. Okay. And we'll let that dry for a bit. Well, not dry, but cool off. Because we want that, we don't want this to come apart now that we've got it. Oh, my flower center shifted a little. This would be a good time to check that. Okay. So come on, cool off, glue. And it's almost there. Almost there. I'll pretend it's already set up. And I'm just going to trim off the extra. Even with my hot glue there. And our flower is finished. Okay. So the little ones, you just do the same way, except when you get to this point, you put your glue in the center and sprinkle some of the beads on there and let them dry. So that's a very simple thing to do. I don't think I need to demonstrate that. But I see I have a few minutes. I want to show you the paper that I got from Heartfelt Creations. It's really quite nice, and a lot of the colors pair up nicely, really nice with the Stampin' Up. So this is the paper, and it has all these panels. And when I got this, I thought, oh, I'll never be able to cut into this. So I immediately did 2 cards, just so I already started cutting it up. And I'm using they have these little strips here. I'm actually using one of these. It's your special day, and there's more here. It's for Mother's Day, and it has all kinds of tropical birds and flowers and things. And there's more panels, and it has more little border things. And you get 2 sheets, and of course on the back there's more stuff. Let's see. How can I do this to show you both? Well, on the back side is double-sided, and on the back this is more oriented for scrapbooking. But it's got, oh, so many pretty things in it. All different tropical things. And like I said, the colors seem to pair up very nicely with Stampin' Up. So I was really happy when I got this and saw all the things that were in it. And then I also used from Stampin' Up, this background here came from the Daisy Delight. So there's this, and on the back side it has a pattern like this. So, but yeah, it looks really good with a lot of Stampin' Up stuff. See, this was my second choice actually, these leaves. But I thought it might be a little too wild and busy. Didn't want that much going on. So anyway, we've got our flower done. We just have to let it. You'll just be waiting for it to dry so you can finish and put your stamen in and move on to making the card. So watch for the video for the card, because I'm going to show you how I did this card too. And you see it really came out just beautiful. So y'all take care. Stay safe, and happy stamping.